Alright, today we're going to be solving quadratic equations by graphing. Alright, we know how to graph quadratic equations. Now what we're going to do is we're going to solve. What that means is by solving is trying to find the x-intercepts. Okay, the solutions are the x-intercepts. If it's a graph that looks like this, if you were to graph something that looked like this means it has two solutions because it has two x-intercepts. In this case, it's like -2 and 3. If you graph it and it looks like this, they call this one solution, okay? Because the vertex is the x-axis, okay? The x-intercept. And if it looks like this, or this, okay, or this, where it doesn't cross the x-axis, they say it has no real solution. The solutions are excuse me, are only where it crosses the x-axis. Any questions? Alright, write this down. What we do is the solutions are identified by finding the x-intercepts. So what we do is we graph this. X squared minus 2x minus 8 equals 0, right? Or we can say that's y. And we graph it, and then we look to see where it crosses the x-axis. And then we check to see if we're right. So let's graph it. What's my first step in graphing a quadratic equation? You guys remember? Find the axis of symmetry. Find the axis of symmetry. We do that by this. -b over 2a. Which is -2 over 2. Because a is 1. What's 2 divided by 2? 1. So my axis of symmetry is 1. We plug that in to find the vertex. Because we're trying to find out, is this a maximum or a minimum? Okay, we plug 1 in there. 1 minus 2 minus 8 is what?
-7.
9.
Oh, 9.
-9. So the vertex, which in this case is the minimum, is 1, -9. Right there. Then we map our y-intercept, which is at -8. Then we use symmetry, right, and put a dot on the other side. So then we graph it, and it comes out to something like that. Or actually, it should be a little bit farther. If you're using your y-intercept's -8. Remember, it's the number by itself. If I graph it, it should look just like that.
So at -9, would you go out like over 1?
So we look. Where does it cross the x-axis? To me, it looks like here is at -2 and 4. Okay. Just graphing it. That's what that looks like. So what we can do is we can check these 2 points by plugging them into the equation. So let's do -2 in for x and see if it equals 0. -2 squared is 4. -2 times -2 is 4 as well. 4 plus 4 minus 8 is 0. So -2 is there. Then we do 4. So 4 squared minus 2 times 4 minus 8. See if that's equal to 0. 16 minus 16 is 0. So that's true as well. So that's our solutions. -2, 4. Alright. If we need to, if you're not for sure, if you've graphed it and you're like, I think it's 4 or it might be 5. What you could do is you could factor this, right? Which if you did, you would get this. Wouldn't you? Is that what you get if you factored that? Which don't those equal 0, -2 and 4? Yeah. So the easiest way is to graph it, look to see, right? And then factor it and see if you get the same numbers. All right? Any questions? x squared minus 4x plus 3. So what I got to do is I got to figure out my axis of symmetry, which is 2. Then I got to figure out my minimum by plugging 2 in there. 2 squared minus 8, so 4 minus 8 plus 3 is -1. Everybody agree? So then I look, my y-intercept's at 3. So I go to the same, use symmetry, and I graph it. What does it look like my solutions are? What does it look like? Where does it cross the x-axis? 1 and 3. So then we look, okay? If I want to, I can plug these numbers in and see if it's true, or if you want, you can just factor this, which if I did that, you get this. What does x have to be for this? 3, right? What does x have to be for this? 1. So there's your two answers. 1 and 3. Alright, they give you x squared minus 6x equals -9. What we have to do is we have to make it equal to 0. So I add 9 to both sides. Now I graph this. Alright, so I find my axis of symmetry first, which is 3. I plug that in here. 3 squared is 9. And then -6 times 3 is -18 plus 9. That gives me 0. So here is my vertex. My y-intercept's there at 9, which I have to put a dot on the other side. Right there. I graph it. So what would be the solution here? It'd just be 3. It only crosses the x-axis at 3, 0. Right? It has one solution. This is, they call it a double root. Right? And that's if the two roots are the same number, which in this case it would be. If we wanted to factor this, you would get this. Right? So what's the solution there? 3. Any questions? Pretty easy, right? All right, let's graph this one. So I've got to find my axis symmetry using this formula, -b over 2a. This gives me -2 over 2, which is -1. So there's my axis of symmetry. Then I find my vertex by plugging -1 in for x. -1 times -1 is 1. -1 times 2 is -2. 1 plus 3 is 4. 4 minus 2 is 2. So my vertex is at -1, 2. This is a minimum because a is positive. I look, my y-intercept's at 3. So I do it on the exact same side and I draw it. What's my solution here? Where does it cross the x-axis?
Nowhere.
It doesn't. So it's empty set or no solution. All right? Any questions? Today, this is the assignment you are going to complete that is due tomorrow.